Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of our podcast with no name. This is the one where Sandy, CHUGG and myself, two old pals, get on and just blather about whatever nonsense is in our head. Now, fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a cracker, right? Because this one is about Sandy's UFO and alien beliefs. Now, before we go into the topic, I need to say that I've known Sandy near 20 years. And the first time I ever heard him mention anything about UFOs was on a podcast we done last week, where he was going on about his beliefs on UFOs. So, we're going to talk about Sandy's beliefs in UFOs, foreign aliens on Earth, and Martians and stuff. So, I promise you it'll be entertainment, and I'm not going to let him get away with anything that sounds too mental. Okay, so thanks for joining us, and Sandy, welcome back to the podcast. Take the floor. Tell us all.
Right, well, first of all, I have to correct you. Right, you need to be brought into the 21st century kicking and screaming, Craig. UFO isn't the term anymore. It's UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. Now, I'm absolutely fascinated with it. Have been for years. Sort of I used to crack jokes at social things and that, like kind of tongue-in-cheek. And I'll tell you a wee bit how I got into it. My brother, God rest him, when I stayed with him for a good wee while, when Bayface weren't in a good place, and I lost him no long after that. Used to be fascinated with X-Files. That was his favourite programme. The truth is out there, right? Used to be like, there's the aliens. Used to sit in the couch going, kid, you've took too many things in your day, right? You're mental. And I used to ridicule for him. But when I lost him, I found solace in kind of watching the X-Files. And then I went on to stuff like ancient aliens. And I started doing a bit of research about all that. And the more I watched, and the more I kind of subscribed to the ancient alien astronaut theory, which basically is about going back archaeological sites. Looking at how they were built, because we can't do the technology now. Here, these were civilizations thousands of years ago. We are like the Mayans, etc., the Sumerians, who had, before the Greeks, before the Romans, miles and miles of thing with knowledge about the stars and about how they aligned buildings and how they built them. And basically what the ancient alien thing is, how did this occur? And see a lot of petroglyphs, hieroglyphics and that, and things that were carved in a lot of these things. He thinks maybe the ancient astronaut theory, if you subscribe to it, which I do, and I don't care if you think I'm a nutter, because I'm not a nutter, right? Basically, they say, see all the main religions and all that, they've all got gods. The gods fell for the earth. They think, and the way they're depicted throughout the ages, for way back, was a lot of that. Were they just doing what? Were they just like carving what they seen? They couldn't use the term spaceship. So they were just carving because you go through you've got deities, you've got gods, right? Especially in the Christian one, the angels fell to earth. They had children with normal humans. There was giants created, etc., etc. And there's a bit of me that believes the aliens. See, governments now, I don't know if it's about Christianity, and scientists don't want to touch how these things came about. They can tell you when it happened and why. They can tell when it happened, but they can't tell you how they built the things. They can't tell you where did the knowledge come. Go to every culture, the Indians in America, sky people and all that, right? I'm new, although this will lead on to the AP phenomenon. I'm a great believer that we are not getting to tell the truth about civilization, right?
In terms of how civilization started, or the history of civilization?
The history of civilization, and probably the main tenet of that is, they say that after the Neanderthals died out, and there were several kind of homo species, right? And they're finding proof of that all over, like basically human, but not quite human. A wee bit, right? Neanderthal was the last one to die out, then everybody became Homo sapiens, right? So, there's humans have had a big kick up the backside, right? Every so many thousand years. Now, just let me finish the news up. Going back to the Neanderthals, scientists have said that we did not have arable farming, did not have societies in that until the Neanderthals died out. Now, sites have been seen knew where Neanderthals and that were still living. We were hunter-gatherers and that. And we were told for years that wasn't possible. But nobody wants to fing me that.
Well, yesterday I watched a YouTube video, and I can't remember the guy's name. He's an English scientist who I believe is based in either Boston or Chicago University. And he's disagreeing with the Egyptologists who think the Sphinx was made by the Egyptians and blah, blah, blah. And what his main point is, no, that's got to be outdated because it's watermarks that have shaped it, and he's convinced. And if you look at it, it makes sense. The Sphinx's head and the body are out of proportion. And what he's suggesting is it started as a full line, and the Egyptians...
I know what you're talking about.
The head.
Bits have fell off it.
Aye, so he's saying that they've recarved the head. And what he's saying is that 12,000 years before that, there was a last time that area had any heavy rainfall. And there's signs on the Sphinx that it's water erosion through rain. So he's suggesting that they must be older than sort of 10, 12,000 years old. And then he goes on to discuss about the building the pyramids and the technology that was available then and how it was impossible. So he believes that there must have been a type of human previous to all that we've just not got as much documented proof of. And the suggestion is we've either got a lost civilization who were far superior to Egyptians and possibly to us, that were wiped out with some cataclysmic disaster. But there is also a suggestion that the people who were pre-Egyptians got their technologies from another world. And is that what you believe then?
Well, scientists can't explain it. And a lot of scientists poo-poo. And see, moving on now, right? That ain't got me interested in what's up in the sky, right? And the more I read into that, the more I read about things. Now, there's no proof. I still do. I truly believe there's spacecraft coming from elsewhere because of obviously the physics involved in that. But these civilizations are millions of years in front of us. Right? See, somebody made a good comment the other week. See if he just say like Marco Polo can run on a boat Christopher Columbus sailed. See, in about 200 years, you'll be able to go, and if it's only one of the things I watch, a tin tube and you'll get here in a couple of years, they'll be like that. Nonsense. Right? No, I'm a great believer. I actually do believe they've got alien craft. They have. Right? All the world.
What, Area 51 and all that?
I believe Roswell, I believe was true. I believe, just for the simple fact it's trying to cover up. And I believe we have captured aliens, different races. And I don't care if you think I'm up or not. Do a bit of research and maybe you'll start believing, right? Because look at it. On you go.
I think it's fair to tell you where I am, this whole thing, right? See, when I was talking earlier about the... I wish I could remember this guy's name, because he's a great talker. He puts across his points really well. And I think he sort of talks in this manner as well. He's not saying he's 100% right, but what he's saying to folk is, you can't tell me I'm 100% wrong. And I'm the same with this, right? I cannot categorically say I believe what happened in Area 51 in Roswell was a cover-up and an alien craft came down and we got beings out either dead or alive or injured. I don't know. But because I don't know, that actually by default means I'm not sure if it's 100% right or 100% wrong. But are you telling me that as far as like ancient aliens, you're convinced that's it? There's no questions?
Well, what I'm saying is, for ancient alien theory, or the ancient alien astronaut theory, is basically, we are not getting told. We are kind of getting told this was all myth, legends, and belief systems, right?
By the way, I must say that the arguments put in front of me by you and by other people I've watched things on, it does align and the dots can join to get to this answer, but that doesn't mean that answer's correct. It just means that it's a possible that could be considered.
Yes. But see the biggest point, the biggest argument, right? How did they manage to do these things? Because they can tell you when the Big Bang happened. They can tell you that we were all single-cell families that jumped out, right? Going back to a way at supposedly the start of the universe. Yeah. Yet they still can't tell you. They cannot tell you definitively how they done this.
you know the best type of scientists I like? And scientists will fall into different categories like any other person in the world, right? But there's scientists out there that once they prove something, they're actually still open-minded enough to potentially consider that something else might come along and for 5, 10, 50 years and show us, what we thought today is actually wrong. And that's where this guy's getting a lot of pushback from, because he's trying, if he's right, and it was either aliens that came down and taught us these technologies, or if there was lost societies that we just don't know what happened to them, cataclysmic events happened 10,000 years ago and wiped them out. If either of those two theories are true, see every written thing about Egyptology and a lot of other things in the archaeology world.
It's wrong.
So, correct. And that's why you get a lot of pushback, because there's some scientists are open-minded, but an awful lot of them are saying, well, that's what I've learned up to now, so that must be fact. And I'm not prepared to consider anything that's been done by archaeologists, scientists, whatever, in the past could ever be wrong, because if they are wrong, we've got hundreds of years worth of learning.
Thousands.
That we've now, I'm talking about, going back hundreds and thousands of years of what we've said, this is what happened in Egypt, and this is how they built pyramids, and this was, what happened in geographical terms to the world. There's so much would just be incorrect like that if we accepted ancient aliens or we had lost societies.
Well, see the biggest pushback, I think, is the religious aspect, because that would mean all the religion's crap, right?
Yeah.
Or there is a theory that a lot of the religions, what they thought was mythology, was just the people describing what they seen, like God's superior powers who would come down. There was discs in the sky. There was whatever, right? Go look. It's all there. All this proof is there. Doesn't mean to say this, but all this. It's not like all this stuff has been made up. Know what I mean?
There is an argument then that it could prove religions were right all along, but just instead of having a mythical god, it was a real thing. It just happened to be for this world.
Right. Well, see God, our God, our Christian God, he's an alien. And know why? Because he's not of this world. He's unworldly. So definition, God's an alien. So if that belief system, we believe in an alien. I believe that there's a higher something out there that governments are suppressing. I tell you, going about science, right? See, in our lifetime, see Mars, we were told Mars was uninhabitable. Know how? Because there was never any water in Mars. Now they're fun that there was rivers and lakes and whatever. They're fun all sorts of Mars that scientists say, no, it can't happen. And I tell there's too much proof. See, if you go into stuff, look at what Ross Coulthard does, right?
Which is what?
He's a News Nation, right? I'll give that a plug. And he didn't believe all the phenomena. There's also the wee guy who works in Vegas. And the biggest thing was the last few years was the Tic Tac video and the gimbal videos, and that was a craft that this is Navy pilots. This is Navy pilots, Navy thingy.
Right, you're taking it forward now. We're talking about UFOs or whatever the new name for them is. We're going there now, right? So, see, for every 100, and this is where I think it becomes a difficult argument, right? See, for every 100, and I'm just making figures up, but for every 100 UFO sighting, right?
I'll tell you the figures.
99 of them could probably be explained as something else.
95 usually.
95, is that where we are? So
it's usually 95.
95% of suggested UFO sightings can be explained in some other phenomena.
But see, now jumping onto UAPs, this is what I'm going to bring it on to.
UAPs?
Yeah, it's unidentified aerial phenomena. It's no UFOs, no flying saucers. And you get UASI, right? And there's a theory, alien civilization, whatever, are under the water, they're in volcanoes, deep into, right? I'm not saying that is right, but they've seen things flying in. And they've got evidence, governments have got evidence, and they're suppressing it all the world. This goes a way back to Kennedy. When Kennedy was assassinated, there's two trains of thoughts now why he was assassinated. He was going to pull out of Vietnam, which would have caused a lot of money to be lost with Finley, right? Or he was going to get, was it Khrushchev? He was going to give him Finley's UFOs and vice versa. That's the two trains of thoughts.
Hold on, stop a minute. This is going off in one. I don't mind a conspiracy theory because A, I've got an inquisitive mind, and two, I like to be entertained.
Oh, I'm not saying that's
right?
true. I'm just saying that's...
You're now opening up another Pandora's box that I'll probably spend weeks on 3 o'clock in the morning in rabbit holes, right? You bugger. And that is, so there's a theory now that Kennedy gets shot because he was going to exchange UFO information with the Russians.
Yes, space information.
Tell me more.
It's just one thing you pick up in some of the things you watch, and some you can see a lot.
Right, why would that cause him to get shot?
There was a Cold War, there was a Cuban crisis, not.
Right.
I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying.
No, but
it's a train of thought.
Right. So I'm not asking you to tell me and convince me it's right.
Well,
I'm asking you to entertain and educate me here. What is the theory then? Why would this is about a lot of conspiracy theories? Why?
See, when Kennedy came to power, right? One of his things was there should be no secrets in a modern democracy, right? We shouldn't be keeping things for the people. He was a great one, but whether you like Kennedy or not, I didn't know because I was they born then.
Right. So, Roswell, what happened?
Basically, what happened, it was originally reported, was the truth that the army had captured a flying disc and a saucer call, whatever you want, and they didn't say anything about bodies in the press release, but the next day they changed it was a wearable, and that was the start of the cover. What a lot of people don't know, there was allegedly 3 or at least 2 craft crashed that all that period at Roswell. There's one further up the road, and Roswell was then made a diversion for other stuff.
Right.
One thing that's been proved about Roswell is that they covered up something. They didn't tell the truth. That's been proved beyond doubt that they weren't telling the truth, and they've continued to, for whatever reason, they'll call it national. Go to tell me, right? See if there's nothing there that we need to know. Why do I don't know about other governments, but why do the British, American know it? Why do the governments totally know, just give you full disclosure on it if there's nothing there, right? Especially Roswell. Roswell was how many years ago? 40s, 40 or 50s, right? That's it can't be national security now, right? You classify for about 70 years and then it doesn't become relevant. Yet Roswell's still never been fully disclosed, the whole lot. They've disclosed some stuff.
Well, here's where I am with this whole thing, right? I was again last night, I watched some amount of stuff. I did a wee man's training, I was sitting on YouTube, and there was a documentary about space and about the Hubble telescope, and then the other one that they've put out, I can't remember its name, and how far away they're looking, and there's billions of different galaxies. So if you think our galaxy alone, we go, well, there might be guys from Mars, right? But then if you multiply that by billions, I think for us to suggest 2 things. One, there is no other intelligent life forms out of all these different galaxies. I think you're hard pushed to try and convince me that that's true. And the other thing is the chances are there'll be life forms out there and intelligence life forms, and probably many intelligent life forms. We're then to accept that none of them are more further advanced than us. Now, if we can get spaceships, and they're talking about Elon Musk talking about getting people to Mars, right? And there are beings out there that are more intelligent than us, then getting to us from other galaxies is probably us getting a bus to Paisley, right? In real terms. So I don't think it is impossible. I think it's actually more impossible to consider that there's no other intelligent life forms out there. And I think it's a slim chance to suggest that out of all those billions of planets out there, that none of them are far enough advanced that somebody somewhere could come to our planet if they so wished. But you think that Roswell, there was wee green men taken in, whether they were dead, injured or alive, into captivity at that point?
I would like to think they were grey. They were what they call the greys. There is allegedly several species of aliens and bodies recovered that the Americans have got, where they've got them. I'm not saying there is, I'm just saying there's a very good theory, and not all of them are benevolent. Now, like E.T., we've got the thing in that, and this is how now there's now a wee bit disclosure dripping out because they are a threat to national security in the skies, and now it's getting too serious. But we're getting told lies about it.
I've just come up with an absolutely mental idea, just as you were talking there, right? Going to need to ask you 2 questions first before we could even possibly think about doing what I've got in my head, right? 1, have you got a passport?
Aye.
2, could you get into America with your previous?
Aye.
That was a sort of half-hearted, aye?
Yeah, I'm a good boy now.
No, but I know you're a good boy now, but because of your past, could you get into America?
I don't know.
Have you ever been to America?
Been to Canada.
That's not America.
I know it's not, but it's North America, right?
Right, but it's not
I probably
America.
could.
Right, see if you could get into America, right? I think, here's what we should do, and I think that we could pull it off.
I'd love to go to
right,
Area 51.
Right, we should, right, GoFundMe, raise whatever, right? And we should go to Roswell, and you can prove to me in Roswell that you're right, and I'll prove to you that you're wrong.
Oh, that's all right.
And make a documentary about it.
So what you're basically begging the viewers is, God, he's a free holiday, pal.
Not free.
That's what it is.
Plenty of folk would. I've been to America before. I can get there in my own fine fettle. But well, if you look into getting to America, and if you could, right, I'll look into how much it would cost to get there, wee bit of kip, and produce a video, right? And if you can do your bit and get to America and guarantee me, I'll go and raise the funds, and we'll go to Roswell together, right?
See, because I don't want to fry everybody.
Well, no, hold a minute. That means I'd need to share a room with you, and I vowed I'd never do that again after Benidorm.
But you can hire motels there by the hour, big man.
Right, okay.
Right. You know what they sell behind the reception in these sort of places, right? I've maybe not been to America, but I know what goes on, right? But what I will say, right, see tying in. No recording? Well, it's obviously the same thing as the last time. We'll do it anyway, and we'll see what comes up. Right. See tying into the ancient alien theory to the new thing, right? This is one thing that I can't get my head around, right? See, for centuries of civilization that were founded, for years we were fucking horse and cart. We were building things, whatever, right? Hundreds of years, and then there was the Industrial Revolution. And even then we were stuck on the same kind of, we were slowly getting technology, right? And then came Tesla, and then came finding electricity and all that, right? See, since the 40s, the Second World War, or even for the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s to the new, look how much technology has absolutely accelerated. Remember when Star Trek came out?
Yes.
Right, and they had the wee things like beam me up, Scotty, and they could see each other and cunts like, excuse my language, sorry. People like, aye, nae bother. What have we got now? Mobile phones can track us everywhere, can whatever, right? We've got night vision goggles.
Yep.
What they say came from alien lenses.
Shut up.
That's what night vision goggles are
Sandy,
to come from.
Stop it.
Craig, do a bit of research, right?
No, stop a minute. No, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I need you to stop talking, right? What you're wanting me to believe is night vision goggle technology came from the lenses in aliens' eyes.
Yes, that's one of the theories, yes. It's never been proved, obviously, because we've not proved there's aliens, right? But I'm going to give you, see, at the end of this, I'm going to tell you a couple of people to go and look up on YouTube and that, right? That do good videos, right? Good Jenny, and I'm going to give you one name who came out at Congress. It's all going through Congress and this and try to get disclosure, right? Right? And I'll give you the names before we finish, right? But see like mobile phones and technology and finding all that, do you know how that's meant to have leapt? See, in old days, a transistor used to be the size of a room, right? Saying the thing was right. See, now transistors are down to that size, right? You've got circuit boards. You can do magical things. You're talking about telescopes. You're talking about space probes and all that, right? How come I've made such gigantic leaps in technology in 50 years when it took absolutely hundreds of years to end, right? Go and explain that, right? Which tells me that is because we've actually captured something, a higher whatever. I'm not saying there's, and I'm going to give you, see if you might do a wee bit of research on that. Watch Ancient Aliens, right, for the start, right? You might disagree, agree. Guys like Eric von Daniken, who wrote a book in the 60s, Chariots of the Gods, right, and says there was more chambers in the pyramids that they hadn't found, right, and they would find more secrets to, right, and Chariots of the Gods basically meant, see what these people are depicting, sky gods, whatever. That might be just what they seen, and that's how they described it. They couldn't say spaceship because they come down, there was fire, thunder, loud, and they had superpowers. And actually, they fund the other chambers he was talking about. They fund more stuff.
Here's something for you though. Right, I don't know. If these spacecraft were thunderous, how come they're silent now?
Well, because technology, that was thousands of years ago, Craig. So how much? Do you want to know something? See, the one thing I'm really doubtful about how if aliens exist is the physics involved, because apparently physics is meant to be the same laws of physics through, or so we're getting told to know, right? But could you bend space and time with wormholes? Or have aliens been here all along? Oh, I think.
We might be the aliens.
Well, that's what do you know? So, see, I'm saying it's something I'm fascinated in, right? Watch Ancient Aliens. There's a guy, Ross Coulthard, right? There's great videos on News Nation, right? The old guys I says, I can't remember his name, he works in LA, bro, right? You've got Luis Alessandro, who was meant to be in ATIP, right? And who started to boot the door open.
What's ATIP?
ATIP was basically the advanced technology, something, I can't remember the right thing, but it was ATIP, and they were meant to be looking into aliens, right?
A government programme.
A government programme. And he was getting frustrated that he was getting stimmied all the time, right? So he quit, and with the boy Blink 182 and all that, they founded a thing with the stars. They get intelligence people involved, and they get people talking, right? But if you look at congressional thing last year, a guy gave testimony, a guy called David Grush, right, who was a high-ranking military intelligence guy, right? Pure American boy, pure whatever, right? And he had the high security clearance in this. Now, what he comes out and says is, it was my job to go and investigate all these things, right? And he says, I'm telling you for a fact, he says, I have never seen a spaceship, I've never seen a wee green man, but I have interviewed and had people coming up to me when they knew that what I was doing to tell me stuff that they had seen. He says, and there's 40 they knew, 40 people in that, right? And see what this can go back to. I know there was Bob Lazar, who worked at Area 51. They tried to make him, he was mental. And see a lot what Bob Lazar says in the early 80s or the 80s, the late 80s. It was true. It's turned out to be true. And they try to rubbish him. A guy, David Grush, go and look up David Grush, right, and Luis Alessandro.
I like watching Bob Lazar stuff, right? Because again, I sit there and I look and I think, well, I can't say 100% you're wrong, but equally I can't say you're 100% right, okay? But you are saying what he said was true. So do you believe Bob Lazar worked at Area 51, worked with alien spacecraft, and everything he says is true?
Yes, because a lot of the stuff that they try to poo-poo on him has actually been turned out to be true. How he managed to, at the time, in the 80s, how they got themselves in, right? Which was a device that scanned your horn. Didn't scan your fingerprints. Didn't scan that. Scanned the length of your bone to the exact micromillimeter, right? And that's how you get just some of the stuff. And what they try to do, Lazar was made out of fool, a fantasist, whatever. See all these people now, and they're now being proved to be, if no proved everything, they proved a lot of what they says, right? See the thing and all which the American government were forced to do. These were back in 2007. Was the USS Nimitz, right, for days, who came across things in radar, whatever, and they were trying to track them and they couldn't get near them, and eventually they did. There was a gimbal, there was a go fast, which is just a thing going. Now people try to say it's just trick of light and all that. These were in radar, right? These are backed up with radar thing, right? And basically the Yanks were forced to bring it out. Now, the likes of Dave Grush and that says, see, that's the tip of the iceberg. They know everything. They fucking, right? I don't know where things are, but I know people who have come up and say to me who are still in these shadowy programs, right? And there's several presidents try to get to the bottom of this, right? See, if you look at an interview, go and do a wee bit of research, and I'm just saying, see what you will be convinced about. We're being lied to. Not so much us, more so the Americans as well, because there's been a lot of UFO stuff here in Britain. And another name, if I may go and look at the Gary McKinnon case, the boy, his mum was from Glasgow, and who broke into NASA's site, and go and look and see what that says. And he didn't find spaceships or whatever, right? And he get so far in. What he did find was logs of up to 1,000 US personnel who were regularly going on and off extraterrestrial. Basically, it wasn't like the USS, whatever. These were like ships propelled to go into space.
Human beings, American.
Yes.
Were going into spaceships.
Yes, and the Americans wanted to extradite him. A wee bit, well before Julian Assange wanted to extradite him and wanted to give him about life right up his jackstrate. So he must have found something that they wanted to know.
Right, fascinating. Now, we're constrained by nothing more than time now. But here's a challenge, right? And I've just thought about this as we were talking through Sandy's theories there. If we can get Sandy into America, I'm going to take him to Roswell and we're going to do a documentary and we're going to call it something along the lines of convince me, right? And we'll look for some help off you guys if we can pull this off. And I'll go to Roswell with this edition, and he can try and prove to me that what his theories are right and my open mind is incorrect, that I should actually just agree with it. I think that sounds fascinating. Would you think that, Sandy?
Aye, and can I say one last thing? The truth is out there.
Right, folks, if you enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more, give us a subscription and a notification. But unless you're a wee green man, have a great day. Cheer, bye now.
Can't talk about that. What drugs is he on?